Happy day, everyone. Thank you for joining me. The Apostle Paul wrote at least 13 books of the New Testament. 14 if you include the book of Hebrews. There's debate on whether he wrote that or not, but he wrote more books than any other author in the Bible. So he has great influence in all of our lives. The very first book that he wrote was chronologically was 1 Thessalonians, and that was to a church. And the last book he wrote was 2 Timothy, and that was to a young pastor. So church ministry was his life, and he had much influence on all of us today. We can learn much from Paul's writings. But in 2 Timothy, the last words that he wrote to this young pastor, in chapter 4, verse number 2, I was reading it this morning. It starts with this: preach the word. That phrase reminded me so much of many years ago. Let me back up and just say that in the 40s, there was a lady that moved down from the Norfolk, Virginia area and into our area, and her name was Snow White. Her first husband's last name was Snow. He passed away, and the next husband was named White, and so her name was Snow White. And she started 3 churches in our area here that are still in existence today. And this lady meant a lot to our family because of the connection that we have with our church. And occasionally we would see her, and I was the associate pastor with my dad, and my dad happened to be away, and I was filling in, and she got sick. She came down with cancer, and she was having surgery, and I ran up to visit her. And I remember that as they were taking her into surgery, she grabbed me by the hand, and she called me by name, and she says, "Preach the word." That was what her words were. Preach the word. And friends, what a challenge it meant to me that to continue to stay in the word. The same words that Paul told this young pastor. I never saw Snow White again. She passed away, but those words still ring with me. Preach the word. You know, there's a lot of churches and ministers and pastors today that have strayed from the word of God. They're preaching their own ideas or preaching what feels good. Itchy ears, Paul says. They're preaching what people want to hear, trying to make people comfortable, preaching what public opinion says. But friends, we've got to always stay in the word. And how do we do that? Well, we've got to know the word. We've got to read the word in order to preach the word. And I encourage you that when you are sharing with people, share the word with other people. Don't just share your opinions or ideas. Well, listen, you have a wonderful day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.